Welcome to the Storyteller's Mind Movie Makers, the podcast where stories are not just told, they are felt. Hosted by Melissa Reaves, master storyteller, dynamic keynote speaker, and founder of Story Fruition. This podcast is your guide to transformational storytelling. Each episode, Melissa takes you to explore the art and science of crafting powerful narratives that move hearts, shift perspectives, and spark actions. Whether you're pitching to investors, leading a team, or stepping on stage, your story is your superpower. So get ready to build your story library and ignite your impact. Welcome to the Storyteller's Mind Movie Makers.
Well, hello, everyone. It's Melissa with the Mind Movie Makers podcast show, and we are so happy to have you here with us. I'm very excited today because I'm going to have Jane Dashevsky, the founder and CEO of The Starter Set, be one of our guests today. Hi, Jane. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm so excited to be here to talk about the starter set and, the work that we did to prepare for the founder's live pitch.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So that's how we met. In my work, I have the opportunity and the blessing, I would say, to meet lots of founders who are getting ready for their capital pitches. You know, they're raising their money, and that's how you and I met. You were in our December show, and it was really fun to work with you. And we also, in this particular show, we introduced my AI, Missy, to the founders to try and work with the Missy AI. So we'll kind of talk a little bit about that because we're trying to scale so that we can help more founders. There's like 150 cities across the globe
Yeah.
that Founders Live is in. We'd love Melissa to be able to coach them all, but how are we going to do that? Like, it's going to be a little hard. So we now have Missy AI that is trained in my book. She's built on Gemini, so she can do all those administrative kind of chat features that people love. But she's also trained in my voice, and she speaks 10 languages. And so this is our opportunity to figure out how to bridge to those founders in those other countries that could be using the Storyteller's Mind Movie method. So that's kind of like where we came from on this. So talk to me about your journey, even saying yes to doing this crazy 99-second business pitch competition. What was that like, and how did that happen? And tell us
Yeah,
about Starter Set, obviously, too.
sure. Well, I guess maybe I'll start with what the starter set is and what brought me to even being in a position to pitch and then the pitching journey. So the starter set is a service that we are creating soon to launch in a few weeks that helps parents connect to personalized product choices for them. So we're starting by building a baby registry that's fully customized based on parent values, and it's AI supported. And so, for example, like if you care about sustainability or luxury or anything in between, you get the full baby registry, all 80 products customized to you in just a matter of minutes, which is really a huge burden off parents who are having to spend like months putting together baby registries. So, I'm a parent myself and can attest to how long that process is and how long it took me. And where this all even came from is from that journey as well. But that's what brought me to pitching. I, am working on setting up this service for parents and getting the word out there to people and figuring out how to tell that story most effectively. I am terrified of public speaking.
You're not alone.
One
You're
of the
not alone.
things that is good is to keep putting myself in the position to have to obviously get better at it, to tell that story. That's why I was super interested in Founders Live. It's just another opportunity to
Mhm.
figure out how to tell something concisely and how to get in front of people and how to connect with an audience. So it seemed like a great opportunity, and I was really grateful to be featured as part of it.
I love that. I mean, that's what I mean. Being an entrepreneur and a founder it's a journey, right? It's
Hmm.
a journey. You got to yes
Yeah.
and your way through the whole thing. And it can be a twist and a turn and whatnot. And then you add public speaking apprehension on top of that. I'm proud of you for saying, I'm just got to keep doing it. I just got to keep doing it because I'll get better
Yeah.
at it because I have to.
Yep.
And that's growth, like there's nothing wrong with anything you just said. It's real and it's honest. And that also, when I see someone, because this is what I do all day long, that I see that and I go, you're coachable then. You're coachable because you're open to like, hey, I don't know it all. I don't.
Yeah, definitely not.
This is, yeah,
In any aspect of life.
right. But you have your other strengths that you're very natural, right? Because your background, you were at Amazon. Tell us about your background and so how you got into saying, I'm going to build this.
Yeah. So I've been in product management, which is, basically like the creation of software products, among other things, for more than 14 years now. And I was at Amazon for the last 10, working in all manners of product leadership there. And it was actually while working there that the idea for the starter set kind of came about. I had had two kids in pretty rapid succession. And, I was having to do like product research on milestones and things like that at midnight after everyone had gone to bed, after I'd finished all my emails. And it just was like such an awful use of time. And I looked around at all this technology we have, right? Like we can personalize some of our retail choices. We can personalize social media. And it just felt like there was a better way to do this. And the thing that was separating our choices as parents was really our value systems, and that was a solvable problem. And because of my experience in product, it just felt like something that I could see sort of end to end how to solve. And that's sort of what brought me to it. I started doing customer research with parents, that I was acquainted with, friends of friends, with my friends. And like everyone was feeling this same just total decision fatigue all
Yeah.
the time. This like, a
Yeah.
lot of women especially will talk about this unseen labor that they have to do of like all the planning and like what's next and figuring out what the kid needs and figuring out what your family needs. And so, a lot of people were struggling with it and were saying that like research was a part of their journey that was not really adding a ton of value. And so that's how we started building it.
So, I mean, it's daunting. I haven't had a little one in a long time. My children
Hmm.
are older now, but yeah, and when I had them, it was in 1998, and so there still wasn't a lot of like streamlined ways to figure out what's the best stroller, right?
Yeah.
I think the stroller and the crib are
Oh
two of the
man.
most
But now there's like
daunting.
products you probably haven't even heard of. And like I know my mom would sometimes talk to me, be like, what is this thing? In Russia, we raised kids without any of this. You know what I mean? Like you're just sorting through so much product noise and
Baby
sources. And now there's
monitors,
social media.
electric.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but it's like I'm just like I'm flashing back, and so like baby
Hmm.
monitors, and now like electric diaper bag things that
Oh
automatically
yeah.
flush themselves, and I mean it's exciting, but you're right. Like, how did we even get out of the woods? You know? Like,
Probably with less anxiety, I would guess.
probably we were getting chased by dinosaurs, but we didn't need a diaper bag.
Yeah. Some people feel still very strongly that you still don't need a diaper bag. And my position is everybody should get what they feel like they need and what will make them comfortable. And that's why we personalize.
That's right, that's right. But just getting out the door, you also so, like, you're helping them because the child's going to age too, and their
Mhm.
changes are going to happen, and so, from
Yeah.
clothing to toys to, videos that make their brains smarter. We used to listen
Yeah.
to the Mozart things and things like that,
Yeah.
and when you're a new parent, you don't know this stuff. You don't know this
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, and the
So
hard part is it's also like every couple of months, it's like a totally new learning curve. Like, you just figure out what you need for this newborn, and then all of a sudden you have to like think about how to cut pieces of food into non-chokeable pieces, and it's like a whole new thing, right? So, we're really focused at least initially on that first year, starting with the baby registry, but like we recognize that that's not enough, right? Every couple of months, you're learning something new. And then there's also obviously mom that has to learn all the postpartum support that she also needs. So there's a lot of material.
yeah. So tell us, let's get inside the story set a little bit.
Mhm.
Like explain what the user experience would be like. So you said something a couple times like our values are different. So what do you mean by that? And then walk us through.
Yeah. So, like, the amazing thing, at least about the baby registry phase, is that if you look at most recommendations, just non personalized, just general recommendations for what you need, it's like people will recommend anywhere from like 60 to 80 different products for you. And the thing is, we're all sort of getting the same stuff. Like, where does baby sleep? How are you going to move baby around in the world? What are some of the things that you're going to use to entertain baby or like, any of those things? So we're all really getting the same stuff. And so what I mean by values is what separates us is like, how do we feel about like luxury touches versus minimalism? How do we feel about eco-friendliness versus convenience or like any of those other things that you can be on a spectrum about and know like it's totally fair to come from whatever position you are, but that's how we kind of think about when we're tailoring products. We ask users who come to our site, will take a short onboarding survey, and we then take the answers that they've given us and the scale at which they care about different things, and we map those to the different products that are available. And we are looking at products that meet a certain quality bar in terms of reviews. We're looking at well-known brands. We're looking at things available across major retailers. We look at what's gotten some traction from editorial reviews like The Bump or Baby List or any of those things, because that's how parents make decisions. And so we take all of that and we use AI to sort of help us scale the matching. And then we give parents 3 choices for every product that match what they've given us as inputs on their preferences.
Well, that's good. I mean, 3 is perfect, I think, because are you doing like this price, and this price? Like
I mean, it can vary.
could
We
be.
either vary by price point or by features, but we do try to give it like a little bit of a different flavor. We don't want you to get 3 of exactly the same thing that like creates the same decision fatigue you were having before.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
that match, if you're not particularly concerned about a certain price point, then we'll give you 3 things in a similar price point, but that have slightly different features.
Okay. Well, so that's good. So you're reducing the stress and the time
Yes.
for these new parents to get everything together for their bouncing baby of joy that's
Yes.
on its way. That's good. That's good. Okay. So now let's talk about the Founders Live pitch.
Yeah.
So to the audience, they have 99 seconds. That's it.
Mhm.
And they have slides. Okay. And so one of the things that is very important is, and I've talked about this, there's something called the wonder wander effect. And it's something I've coined in my book. And I am very vigilant about that when I'm coaching because I want the audience to be delighted and edutained by each speaker, right? But one of the things that can really cause the wonder wander effect to happen is too much copy, confusing images, too much to read, because what happens is that they're trying to listen to the speaker and then the slide comes up, and if it's not really succinct, they will start to wonder what they're supposed to do and they'll start to wander away from listening. And we don't
Mhm.
want that. We want 100% listening skills going. So, what was that experience like for you coming forward? Because this is a fast pitch. This is not your average pitch. Most people will say a fast pitch is 2 or 3 minutes. We're
Yeah.
like, well, it's a minute 39.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say that I'm obsessed with the wonder wander phrase just because it's so like when you hear that and you've ever had to give a presentation, like it really resonates because you've definitely seen that
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
happen,
yeah.
whether
We
to
all
you
have.
or to others. I've seen it happen when I've given a pitch before and it made me think back to what I did that could have been improved at that point. But yeah, 99 seconds is not a lot of time. And previous to this, I'd done some pitches that were 3 minutes. And when you're facing 99 seconds, you realize, oh man, I could have gotten so much more in 3 minutes than 99 seconds. You have to be like extremely concise, which is tricky. And, I think that I tend to want to put a lot of like data and words on my slides. Having been at Amazon for a long time, like our primary method of delivering information is like long form documents.
Right.
So with
Right.
like, 15 appendices
That's
attached.
right.
So, it's a little bit tough to now go back to a totally different communication style where you're relying on images and like spoken word and trying to like get that across. So it was very difficult to figure out how to like reprogram on that. And I was really fortunate because, I had Melissa here who helped coach me through and was very direct about how, we're not trying to overwhelm people with data, but we're trying to share a story and that the story is the thing that people will remember, not the data points, even as compelling as you may think they are as a founder.
Right, right. I always say to people, I'm like, it's because the chart and the data are telling stories about people, right?
Yeah.
Usually, or maybe
Yeah.
animals, or even it could be Mother Earth if they're like climate tech, right? Like
Hmm.
there's always a character and they're going to remember that story. I hang my hat on that one, right?
Yeah.
But you need to have those charts, right? And so oftentimes we will start with, so I say that there's 3 different types of decks. There's an internal deck, which is where all that data is and your internal team is looking at it. It doesn't have to be that pretty because no one else is going to see it, right? It's just you finding the story. Then there's the shared deck, which is where I see most founders do this. A shared deck means that there's more copy, no one's talking. The person has control over that deck, so they can read it, they can analyze, they can do all that stuff. But you still want to have your entire deck telling the overall story. So every page is building upon that, right? But then the speaker's deck, that's the precious one. That's the one where
Mhm.
you want to be very careful on how much information is going out. So we have to control it. We have to do slide building. We have to have images. So when you first brought your deck, I remember it being very wordy, coming from
Mhm.
the Amazon background. It was even literally black and white. And so what was it like when I said, we need pictures and I need color?
Took me a second to process, as you may have noticed. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's like you hear things like that and it's like, yeah, oh, obviously. But I am like an extremely non-visual person. So like then having to go think about how to do that takes a minute, but it just made so much sense. I think
I'm
like,
glad.
yeah, it just made so much sense.
Yeah. And now moving forward, so you're going to have longer pitches. The
Hmm.
same things apply. They
Yeah.
really do. When you're picking a chart, when you're going to actually, I always say to clients, I'm like, it's not that Melissa's opposed to charts. I'm not. Just I don't need to see every chart from your internal deck. A lot of you didn't do that, but I've seen founders who think that they have to show every single slide deck that they've ever seen. And again, that's going to spark the wander effect big time.
Yeah.
So as you move forward, remember, internal deck, shared deck, and your speaker's deck need to have a different approach for
Yeah.
the optimum success, right?
Yeah. That makes so much sense. It's interesting because like I've also been in the audience for different pitches as well. And, seen even in the ones that I've been a part of, like what resonates with the audience. And it's never, I would say, I don't know, maybe not never, but like it's even the slide deck is sort of often so inconsequential. And so what you're saying just hits so true to home because it's often so inconsequential. And what ends up really connecting is like how authentically the founder is able to like talk about their story. And I don't even think in most cases it was about the deck. It was really just about their presence.
Their presence and how they got there, because you're selling yourself as much as you
Mhm.
are selling the technology. And
Mhm.
so if you have a founder who is just all data, doesn't want to answer the questions the way they're being asked, is showing more fear. I'm not saying they're not going to get funding. They can still get funding. They're brilliant at something, right? But it can come faster if you can start
Yeah.
to become a better, more confident public speaker. And that comes from doing practice. Like you said, I'm going to just get up there and do it. You'll get better at it, but practice.
Mhm.
Did you practice?
Oh, yeah. Because I am afraid of public speaking,
Yeah, it's okay.
for me, it's like I have to practice to the point where I can black out because unless it's like full muscle memory, I will stumble and get nervous. And I mean, even then, I know sometimes when you practice to that extent, it also ends up feeling wooden. But, you know, there's things to
Yeah,
continue to improve on. What are you going to do?
that's right. That's right. And I always say to people, because I'm a storyteller and I've told longer stories, like 5 to 8, 10-minute stories.
Hmm.
But when I tell them, I try to mix it up a little bit, just so that it's entertaining still for me. But
Yeah,
the story still is intact. It just depends on who the audience is too, right? But now you have an elevator pitch. You
I
have
do.
an elevator
Yes.
pitch.
Yes.
So would you mind sharing how you open? What was your opening problem story? Do you remember how you
Yeah.
did it?
Well, I talked about, a mom who was facing that problem. So, we talk about that there is this first time expectant mom whose name is Joanne, and she is just so excited to put together a baby registry until she realizes that that registry is 80 products deep and it's going to take her 40 plus hours, 2 plus months to do it. That thing that we all do where we look at reviews and retail sites and blogs, like she's going to be doing that times hundreds of products. And it's just going to take so much effort. And so that's where we really come in and where we look at her value systems, have her tell us what she cares about, and then match her to the perfect products for her based on our highly curated database of products.
There you go. Right there. That was simple. And here's what happened to me as I was listening to it again. First off, just by you naming her Joanne locks in a character. You didn't have to, but we did have a picture of a
Hmm.
woman. It was a cool picture too, because it was like from behind her and you could see her belly and then there was
Hmm.
stuff all around her. So
Hmm.
so we're looking at that while you're seeing meet Joanne. Okay. So we're like, okay, hello, Joanne. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And then your data points where she's got 8, you used your numbers carefully. She has 80 products that are going to take 40 hours. It's going to take 2 months
Mhm.
data. But
Mhm.
you weaved it into the story, which only enhances our tension that we are feeling for Joanne, right? We're like, oh, for those of us who kind of lived through it already, we're remembering it. But for those of us who are like, what? I haven't had a baby yet. What's going to
Yeah.
happen? You are prepping that
Yeah.
this is a real relatable problem through Joanne. And then starter set becomes a character in a sense, so I don't know if we say, but it doesn't have to be this way, introducing starter set. And then
Mhm.
starter set all of a sudden becomes Joanne's bestie, right?
Yeah.
And we
Absolutely.
start listing things that she's getting accomplished. She's getting reviews, she's getting all these things. Now we're taking features, weaving it into the story, and that's what we're going to remember versus what you'd see mostly in most presentations is that we would see probably a slide with all the features that the product is going to offer and maybe some benefits. So it probably in most cases become a very red slide, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now the audience is reading and they're kind of even in analytical mode because they're reading. That's a different part of our brain. That's our neocortex, right? That's the part that analyzes and it's logical and reasonable, but it is not emotional.
Yeah.
We buy on logic and emotion. So that's why we have a story because it ignites the limbic system. So now we see Joanne, we're feeling her tension, and what's happening? Oxytocin is now running through our bodies, which is a neurotransmitter. And when we have neurotransmitters going, it's almost hypnotic. And that's when the audience is like, I love this story. Like, and that's why we do it. That's the whole premise.
Yeah, again, it's when you say it, it's so obvious. And for parents, like all of this is very emotional. So it just makes such perfect sense, especially if you're in consumer product, that you would want to really connect with people's emotions because, especially around babies, like you are deciding everything very emotionally, especially through certain trimesters.
And you can change your characters too. So we have Joanne as the first time mom, but what if
Mhm.
we have Sandra who has an already 1-year-old and is pregnant with twins,
But yeah,
right?
Sandra's
Totally
stressed
different
out.
raising of the bar, double of everything, but that's what I would always encourage now is
Hmm.
keep well, we used Missy. Now Missy for visuals wasn't quite as strong for your case.
Hmm.
I kind of stepped in on that one, but it might
Yeah.
be because there wasn't a lot of visuals for the AI to pick up on. So we'll just
Yes.
we'll
I
just
did have
go
a
with
I
that.
had a
That's okay. We
minimalist
still need
black and white
humans.
deck. It's true.
We still need humans. And so but like honestly, the Missy AI, you can go in there now and you could say, hey, Missy, I want to come up with a few more different types of parent scenarios, right?
Hmm.
And we could do that. Like the mom, there is one that's crawling around and she's got 2 kids. Missy can help you create that 30-second problem character so that you yourself can mix it up a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You could mix it up.
I mean, I will say Missy's the one who tipped me off to even use Joanne as a character like that. And then also, I was coming in over and she really helped me think about like how to keep the important parts of the pitch in without losing any meaningful data, but like also cutting it down so that it really did fit into that 99 seconds.
Awesome. Yeah, so my book, I call this weed whacking. I'm like, we got to get the weeds out of the way so we can
Yeah.
see your gorgeous garden. And so she does know about. Did she quote the book? Did she quote the book with you? Sometimes she,
I
oftentimes
don't
she will.
remember off the top of my head. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was clear that she was like coming off of a text, I think at the beginning at least,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't remember specifically.
Yeah. But your Missy is your Missy. So it's your
Mhm.
private LLM. You can go in there and you can keep using her to help build that story library. You can also go in there and you could do a pitch to her and you can say to her, hey, Missy, I'm going to do a pitch. Don't talk until I'm done. And then I'll say, go ahead. What do you think? So you can get notes. Because early days, if you paused, she thought you were ready to listen to her. And so
Mhm.
I, as a dramatic storyteller, actually had to train her a little bit on that. Because when we're using pausing in some sort of other storytelling venues, that's for dramatic effect.
Mhm.
That's dramatic effect. And you don't want the AI misreading it. So we fix that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, where can people find the starter set? Let's direct people to
Yeah.
find you.
So you can find the starter set at thestarterset.com. And we're also on Instagram at the starterset_baby. So you
Okay.
can find us there. We also have a podcast called Getting Started with Baby. That's available on Spotify and YouTube and Apple, where we talk to all sorts of different people across the parenting spectrum, whether it's doulas or lactation consultants or sleep experts. And so parents can learn there as well.
Awesome. That's wonderful. I love how you have just like a whole mix of ways to help people in this very important, exciting, and stressful time in life.
Yes,
So
that's what
thank
we're
you.
going for.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay. Well, it was a delight to have you here on our show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for stepping up, doing Founders Live. You
Mhm.
did great. You did.
Yeah.
It was really fun to work with you, and I hope I see you again because, you're gonna have more pitches. This is what we do. But you have
Yeah.
Missy. You have
Yeah,
Missy in
me too.
between.
And now I
Yeah.
know to go visual first, lead with the story.
Mhm.
And so I feel much more prepared. So thank you so much, Melissa, because it was totally transformational.
Oh, that warms my heart. That warms my heart. Thank you. Okay, so everyone, please, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, follow, share, comment too. Like let us hear your comments to see what you're thinking about all of the stuff that we talked about. We'd love to interact with you. That's the conclusion of this episode. Thank you again, Jane. Thank you again, listening audience, and we will see you at the next episode. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Storyteller's Mind Movie Makers. If you're ready to build your story library and turn your lived experiences into unforgettable mind movies, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with others on the storytelling journey. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Story Fruition for even more storytelling tips, behind-the-scenes moments, and live story coaching. Until next time, keep crafting, keep sharing, and remember, tell your stories and tell them well.